Okay, this is problem 17 from chapter 10 of the McMurray 7th edition textbook, and we're supposed to name these alkyl halides. Now, when you number the carbon chain here, you can see that the longest chain runs left to right through this molecule, but we want to number from left to right in order to position the more numbers of substituents at lower numberings. If you number it from right to left, you will see that you have a substituent at carbon 2 either way, but carbon 3 and 4 will have the bromines if we number it from left to right. So that's a better thing. So we've got a methyl at carbon 2, a bromo at carbon 3, a bromo at carbon 4, and a methyl at carbon 6. So to assemble that name, we would say dibromo and dimethyl. But keep in mind that you need to alphabetize the bromo because there's a B there, and the methyl afterwards because that starts with an M. So we would write 3, 4, dibromo. Let's count the carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm having a hard time counting today. That should be a 7. Let's get back to the name. 3, 4, dibromo. And then we have a 2, 6 dimethyl. And we end the name with heptane. Okay. Let's move on to B. So here we have an alkene and then we have an iodo. Remember that alkenes have priority. So we have to number this with a lower numbering for the alkene. And this has an iodo group at carbon 5. We do need a number for the position of the alkene, so we will say 2-hexene at the end of this, okay? So the name of that is going to be 5-iodo 2-hexene. Okay. For this third one here, we can see the longest chain runs through the molecule from left to right and contains 6 carbons, so that's a hexane. And now we need to identify the numbering sequence for this molecule. We would want to number from left to right because we'll have 2 groups at carbon 2. So that's how we're going to number this one. Okay, so we have 2 groups at carbon 2, and that's a better thing than just having 1 group at carbon 2 if we numbered it from right to left. So we've got a bromo group at carbon 2, a chloro group at carbon 4, and we've got a methyl group at carbon 5 and a methyl group at carbon 2. So it might be a good idea to list these out. And 4 chloro group and a 5 methyl group. And then remember, we need to alphabetize things, so we're going to start off the name with 2-bromo, because B comes first in the alphabet there. Then next what we'll do is tag on this 4-chloro. And then remember, if you have 2 methyl groups, we use the prefix di to indicate 2 of those. So we'll do 2, 5. Remember, you need a number for each of their locations. Dimethyl. And then we'll end this off with a hexane. Okay. So that's how you would do that one. Now for D, we have to carefully consider the longest chain. So it does look like the longest chain. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. So you could name this molecule in different ways. The problem just says name the following alkyl halides. So if you wanted this group here to be part of the longest chain, you could number it this way. Okay, and this would be an ethyl group attached to carbon 2. So that's only a what do you call it? A pentane chain, right? But if you numbered it this way, that is a hexane chain. So I would argue that that's probably better, okay? And attached to carbon 2 is going to be this bromomethyl group, okay? So remember, this is a methyl group, CH3, and we're replacing the hydrogen for a bromine group at the carbon 1 of the methyl group. So you don't really need to say 1 bromomethyl. It's just really redundant. So I'll name this both ways. In red, I would call this 3 bromomethyl. Okay. You could put that in parentheses because it's a complicated group. It's not a simple group. And that's attached, at the carbon 3 of this huge hexane chain. So hexane is the parent chain. Now, if you wanted to name it in the blue numberings here, we mentioned that it would be just a pentane. And I don't think that's right, the best way to number it. So there's a bromo group at carbon 1, and then there's an ethyl group at carbon 3. So I would name that 1 bromo, okay, 2 ethyl. So again, we're alphabetizing. B comes before E, and then the parent chain would be pentane, okay? So there's 2 acceptable ways you could name this. This obviously is the easiest way, but if you've got an instructor maybe that's going by the rule book, they might say, well, hexane is longer than pentane, so this is the correct way. So either of those might be acceptable depending on the severity of the correctness that you're looking for. This molecule here, we've got an alkyne that receives priority for numbering. So we definitely want to number from right to left here. Watch out when you get here. That's a chloro group. Cl is chlorine. So it looks kind of weird there. Okay, so that's a hexine. All right. So we got a bromo at carbon 1. We've got a chloro at carbon 6. And we got a hexine beginning at the carbon 2. So the name of this would be 1 bromo, and B comes before C, 6 chloro, okay, and we could name that 2 hexine. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how I would name that one there. Okay, so yeah, that's how you do problem 17. Thanks for watching.